Hey guys, welcome back to my show. In today's episode, I'll be talking to you about character profiles. Now, I'm doing a talk on character profiles because it didn't seem like anyone answered the poll, so I just randomly picked up a topic from my jar of topics I can talk about. And yeah, so what I'm going to do from now on is instead of giving guys a poll, I'll just randomly pick out a topic from my jar and then start the topic. So as I said earlier, our today's topic is character profiles. So we'll be going through that in depth with an example of my own character from my book. We'll be doing a book talk on A Tangle of Knots and an author talk on Lisa Graff. So yeah, let's begin. So first of all, let me tell you that the character profiles are really in depth. So it really depends on what kind of questions. I will be giving you kind of like a questionnaire kind of thing, which I did, inspired by a few questionnaires I found online from the Abby Eamon I think. Was it? Yeah. Her ones are really good. So if you want, maybe I can send you a sample piece. I'll see what I can do, but I can maybe send you a link to our website and you can check that out. I'll try to do that, I guess. But anyways, let's start talking to you about character profiles. So first of all, how do you create a character profile? Or should I start with this? Let's go back a little. How do we do this? How are we wondering that how do we create it? That's the main question. But now, as I said earlier, we are rewinding back and saying, what is a character profile? Well, a character profile is like a profile which defines who your character is. It's kind of like a brief outline of your character, their mannerisms, their appearance, their hobbies, maybe their passions, their clothing. That comes in appearance actually, but maybe those kind of things. Then where they work, what job they might want to do in the future, stuff like that. Where they see themselves in after 20 years and stuff like that. Maybe it would be around the lines of what character profiles are and how they can be used. Now, they can be used in many ways. The number one way is using a character profile. You can use that character profile to define who your character is and use that characteristics you gave your character in your novel, book, or story, or poem, if your poem has characters in it. Now, there's one thing to keep in mind is that in character profiles, you do not always have to stick to your character profile. Just make sure you keep updating your character profile, so in the end you don't be confused on why does my character have blue eyes when in my character profile it says black eyes, stuff like that. Make sure that you keep. Now, there are few questions you should be asking yourself before making your character profile, which is that, is my character necessary? Now, if you make sure that you have a necessary character, which means not adding a character, if you have a character which does not have any depth or any kind of goal in the book or the novel or the story or the poem. Right now we're actually talking on the three parts of it. So the main thing is you have to make sure your character is having some inner goal or inner sense of thing that they really want to achieve. Now, what I can give you an example is maybe that's in my book. I have this character, 3 characters actually, 2 to 3 actually. Around the age of 10 to 12, they're on a mission. Actually, I would not say a mission because they accidentally reached this place, a foreign place. It's a portal basically. They reached through a portal which was in the basement, and they realized they need to save the society of magical beings. And yeah, that's their goal. Their goal is now to save them from whatever harm is coming to them. So now, in order to make sure my characters are convincing, I need to make sure that My characters have inner goals and obstacles coming in their way, which means they are convincing and have depth. And by having depth, I mean they are not some random character put into the book just to make it feel like I have many characters. So this is one example. Actually, this thing I'm telling you about, it's real. The book I'm writing about that. Now, what do I mean by character arcs? Now, I may or may not have talked to you about character arcs yet, but I'll get to that later on. Because in this video, in this episode, we're not going to be talking about character arcs, but in character arcs, it's basically like plot points on like where each thing goes. Like your character grows each chapter, depending on like if you have chapters anyways. So your character keeps moving from start. Maybe your character believes something, and then by the end, your character does not believe in that because he or she realizes it's not real and it's not what he thinks or she thinks was there before. That kind of thing is character arc. Now, you may be wondering that I told you all like what's a character profile, why is it used, and all of that. But you may be having this question. You may or may not be having this question. But like what exactly as a writer, what do you look for in a character profile, in a good character profile? So first of all, I would just say that you need to go in depth. Like you need to go really in depth and like do some trivia kind of things with the characters. See, maybe you could imagine how it would be if your character's in life and what kind of friend he or she would make, or what kind of person he or she is, what personality do they have, what kind of treatment do they give others, are they kind, are they evil, and stuff like that. You can also maybe try some like online. You will be finding many character profile worksheets. You can search up character profile worksheets and you will find many. I actually recommend Abby Eamon's worksheets, so you can check that out. She has a YouTube channel as well, so you can go out there and see. But like for all young authors as well, young readers, this is also for you. You guys can start doing this if you're just starting off with stories. This is also really good, especially if you're trying to expand into the books section. Okay, now what else would there be? Yeah, that's it about like being how to do a good. Now there are parts to this. There's a part 1, part 2, and part 3. So let me just talk to you about part 1. Part 1 is kind of like the main parts. It's like the outermost area. So like by outermost I mean like the main things. So like let's take me as an example, like my book. Now when you ask about outer layer, let's say you're introducing your characters. You need to know the name, you need to know possibly what age they are. You most probably be needing your age at all time, but like there are exceptions sometimes. Some books they're not there. Name, age, place of birth. Place of birth is required in your character profile, but you don't really have to include it in your book. I mean, if you want to, you can, but that's not required. Then there's current location, which means like if your place of birth was outside of the place you are living in right now, you can write that in place of birth, and in current location you write where you live right now, which is quite self-explanatory. Now you may or may not have to add this, but I'm just telling you anyways. You can add education and occupation as well. Now if your character is not in the age where they have completed the education or have a job or occupation, then I would say you keep education as what they are currently doing in school or college or whatever they are doing right now. And for occupation, you just write, maybe change the thing and write what they want to be later on as an occupation, or you can just put a dash or just not write it at all. Now in my case, since my characters are between the ages of 10 to 12, what I have done is, for the occupation part of it, I kept the occupation part even though they are not having any jobs yet. But what I was thinking was, I would make the occupation blank, and then maybe later on fill it. Maybe throughout the book I was thinking I'll age my characters, but not too much of a gap, but like maybe they have like this training in the portal area and something happens. So that's how I was doing. Now there are many parts of it. That's just the basic part on like age, name, kind of like the things they ask you in like daily stuff, most of the time actually. Then there's like the physical appearance, which is like eye color, hairstyle, then maybe your clothing, maybe what kind of clothes you wear. That could also be included. That actually comes in style, not hairstyle, but any kind of style. Then you could talk about any different features they have, like any features they have which stick out and is not common. Maybe it is common, but they're the only ones who have it in the household or in the environment right now. Then you can maybe tell about what kind of things do they like to wear, like what kind of outfits do they like to wear. For example, my characters love to wear let's see, jeans and top with a hat, and my other character loves to wear any kind of clothes as long as it is like, you know, has like a shows off her bubbly personality. Now the other one would be accessories. So accessories are like a main thing, especially if your character is maybe a clown. Okay, not maybe a clown, I mean anyone can have accessory, but like clowns have a lot of accessories on the line. Like they have hats, they have their outfit, whichever they wear. Actually that's not accessory, but like their hat, the stick, maybe they have, then the nose thing they put on the red thing, and the shoes are technically kind of like an accessory, but not really, but like that kind of thing. Now their usual level of like sense of like stylishness. So like what's the level? So like, do you mean like untidy? Are they untidy person? Are they untidy but clean at the same time? Now what I mean by that is untidy but clean. You must be wondering, how can you be untidy and clean at the same time? Well, you can be untidy from appearance but clean from the inside. I don't really know how to explain that part, but I think that makes sense. So what I mean by that, I guess I can try to summarize it up to make it more simple, is that maybe they from the outside they're all messy from the face, maybe they have hair all shuffled up and messed around, but from the inside they're a good person, which makes them clean, probably something like that. Now what else I have to say is that maybe you can talk about their mannerisms as well. Like mine, as you may have noticed, is I say so a lot. Could have noticed that. And I say also a lot. That would be my mannerism if I was your character, and if I was a character, that would be my mannerism. That would be coming under the mannerism section. Now my other section, and of course you're not seeing me face to face because this is not a YouTube video or any kind of video like that, but the few things you have to keep in mind is that as a face, when you see the face, you see all the different kinds of facial expressions. So the facial expressions which are used a lot, they are mostly the ones which are used in mannerisms. Now some people, they skip the mannerism part altogether because some characters do not have mannerism. Like my characters in my novel They are kids, as I mentioned earlier, 10 to 12, which makes them in the tween section. So their mannerisms would be really different. So I am going to keep you in suspense on that, on like what the mannerisms are. And before I tell you more on like the other parts, part 2 and 3, I want you to all think about if you were a character, what would your mannerisms be? Now, if you want to answer that, if you just don't want to think about it and you want to also answer it and let me know, you can send me a voice message by clicking on the top right corner of my page. And like, if you're doing it on Anchor, if not, then you can just put in the comment section if there is a comment section on your page, or you can let's see, you can probably just fill out the form I'll be putting down below. You can answer in that if you want. And yeah, maybe I won't be putting a form, maybe I'll just put I'll just figure out something and I'll put something down there so you can answer on like your choices and stuff. Now the next part 2. Part 2, oh yeah, wait, before I start with part 2, I have to also do this other part, which is speech and communication. Now, speech and communication is like how fast they talk, how slow they talk, and things like that. Do they have an accent? Is it a fake accent or a real accent? Is it bad accent or good accent? Those kind of things. Their posture, are they casual and relaxed, or are they kind of slouchy and with their backs bended or turned? Do they move their hands a lot? That will come in gesture actually, but do they move their hands a lot? Do they talk a lot? Are they talkative and stuff like that? Are they introvert, extrovert? That doesn't come in speech and communication, but I'm just including it here. What's the catchphrase? Okay, now this is my favorite part of the character profile, because catchphrases are really unique to the character. Catchphrases are not supposed to be used by other characters. I mean, yes, if they are mocking that character, then you may use the catchphrase in the other characters thing, but like the catchphrase is unique to that character you're putting the catchphrase in. For example, the character I have, her catchphrase is oh tomatoes, because she loves eating tomatoes, plus she loves the color red. So that's her catchphrase, oh tomatoes. And yeah, so that's the catchphrase part of it. Now let me talk to you about the part 2 of it, which is like more on the side of the past and the present kind of thing. So like kind of like the name of their hometown, the type of childhood they have, and stuff like that. But now remember, again, if your character is young, their hometown would technically be the place they were born and brought up in, or the place they have been in most. The type of childhood, they can just, if you're having this, you can skip the past part, because your character is still young, so your character would not have the childhood part of it completed already. But you can include the part in which, like, you maybe if your character, or yeah, if your character is going to like school, maybe you can include what kind of activities they do, whether they play any sport, whether they have taken up any like curricular activities, extracurricular activities, stuff like that. Maybe you can do future stuff, like maybe you can think of like maybe what would their hobbies be growing up, or what would be their dream job. I mean, what would be their job actually, not their dream job. Then what would their resume look like, or maybe the earliest memory you could write, maybe earliest memory about them, the saddest memory, their happiest memory, and what are their most um what is their scariest fear they have. Now many people say that those fears are skeletons in the closet, and that part doesn't make sense to me, but if you guys understand, then that's great. um Now before I move on to part 3, because part 2 was really short, um part 2 also has this part of family: father, mother, siblings, children, extended family, and all of that. Now, again, if you're writing a children's character, it's pretty obvious that you won't be having the children section yet. If your character has no siblings, you can just write 0, or don't write siblings at all. What I do is I make the family tree digitally by going to this website. I go to the website and make the family tree digitally for them, or just write it down in my journal. Now let me go to their so now you have to talk about the dynamic roles they have. So they are leaders, jokers, parent, and many others. So you have to figure out what their roles are in a group, like how they are, whether they're the leader, the person who leads the conversation, the joker, the person who jokes a lot, the parent who tries to end the conversation fast. At least I hope that's what it means. Yeah, that's the roles in group dynamics. Then so that's it. Now part 3 is like the main, I would not say main, but kind of like the part where who your character is deep in their heart and deep in their soul, who they are. This is what defines them. This is actually the reason it's the core part of it, kind of like the core part of it, is because it shows the backstory that shapes your dynamic character. So the psychology part of it is that maybe you could ask what they do on rainy days. Are they introvert or extrovert? Actually, this one would be coming in core. I actually told you guys about this earlier, but this would be coming here. Then maybe you could talk about their favorite things, their flaws, their strengths, their fears, their accomplishments, their favorite movies and TV shows. That's just for fun, actually, but you can add that if you want. Maybe you can write about what one object or possession they would rescue from their burning home, what or who owes them, what do they look for in a good friend, list the last 10 books they read. So if they're a book person, maybe you can write that down. Maybe you could write what is their favorite book character or something like that. Are they naughty? Are they fun? What are they? So that was it. That was it for the character profile. Before I end, let me just give you an example of mine. So my character's name is Isha Anand. Her age is 12. Place of birth is Mumbai, India. Her eye color is spark brown. Her hairstyle is jet black plaited hair. Her features which are distinguished, which means it's pretty stuck out, is that she has earrings that no one in the world owns. At least that's what she thinks. Her preferred outfit is anything trendy and anything that makes her bubbly personality pop out. Her accessories are bangles. She loves wearing bangles no matter what. And mannerisms is that she starts talking in her mother tongue, which is Hindi, when she's out of ideas or is praying. Her saddest memory is that her grandfather died in the war. Her happiest memory is that she met her now best friend at summer camp. Is she introvert or extrovert? Well, she's extrovert, but it's also a slight introvert. Her favorite food is vada pav, samosa, bhel puri, and gulab jamun. Now, if you all do not know about these food, you can search it up and you can find out. The biggest strength of her is that she can navigate through super confusing maps and not so confusing maps. She can also speak and understand Hindi perfectly and can also sense people's feelings later in the book. So basically, she's an empath for a temporary time while she's in the portal area. Her biggest fear is suddenly losing her strength of navigating maps. She has a maxophobia, which is fear of cars, and her challenges that she will be facing is facing obstacles that will be or was really tough. So that was that. Now let me talk to you about the book A Tangle of Knots and the author. So let me first talk to you about the book. In a remarkable world where many people are blessed with a special talent, 11-year-old Katie is an orphan with a phenomenal ability for cake baking and no idea of the journey that fate set in place for her the moment she was born. But when Katie moves into an upstairs room in the town's lost luggage emporium, she meets a curious cast of characters whose lives are tangled with her own in ways she never could have imagined. There's a ragtag group of siblings struggle to grow beyond their talents, the woman without any words and devious thief on a single-minded mission. And the one thing that ties them all together just might lie inside a single powder blue suitcase. In a story that falls into place like a magnificent puzzle, these encounters hold the key to unraveling the mystery of Katie's past. Lisa Graff adds a pinch of magic to a singular story, creating a novel that will have readers wondering about fate and the way we are all connected for a long time to come. So if you're enticed by that brief synopsis kind of thing I read you should read the book. It's amazing. I just finished reading it, and yeah. Now let me do the author talk quickly and we can end this. So Lisa Graff is the author of Double Dog Dare, The Thing About Georgie, Umbrella Summer, The Life and Crimes of Bernetta Wallflower, Sophie Simon Solves, and A Tangle of Knots. She was a former children's book editor. She is now a full-time writer and a professor at McDaniel College. She lives with her cat Henry in New York City, where she loves to bake cookies and cakes, and even make peanut butter every once in a while. You can visit Lisa Graff online at www.lisagraff.com. I repeat, www.lisagraff.com. Okay, so guys, we are done with the show. Done with the episode. I hope you all had fun and learned something new. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned for new episodes every Friday. Bye guys.